Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I am Richard. This is my channel. I'm going to have a drink, and I'm inviting you to join me for a chat. Interestingly enough, I had a question that I posed to the internet, as you do, and I asked, when did the Jews return to Israel? Now, first of all, let me remind you, for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from the company 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. That's across all 6 of my channels. So I have purchased way more than 7 bracelets. My largest channel has more than 7,000 subscribers. I also do purchase these symbolic adoptions from the World Wildlife Fund. And here's one of my medals from the Conqueror, symbolizing 5 trees that I've had planted. So yeah. So, something came up recently. I saw something on YouTube where it talked about a person who permitted, in the 6th century, the Jews to return to Israel. And used public funds, and Egyptian engineers to rebuild one of the Hebrew temples, because it was the law that temples could be rebuilt using government funds. And I believe this was an Arab gentleman. And so I wondered, how long have the Jews been in Israel? Because everybody's acting like the Jews returned to Israel in the 20th century and that their claim to Israel is very small, very young. Turns out this is not the case. That is not taking the cold well. It would appear the Romans banished the Jews from Jerusalem, the capital city of Israel, and renamed this place Palestine. Okay? The entire province or state of Rome. But what we call Israel today historically has never been free of Jews since the Jews arrived as a nomadic people. So the Jews have been living in Israel, or what is called Israel, for thousands of years. There are occasions which the Jewish population of the region after the diaspora dropped to as low as 10% of the population of what we call Palestine. And they were essentially permitted to return in the 6th century. So any restriction on Jews living there went away at that point. And from what I understand, I can't see, it's possible that I'm missing something, but there could be something after that where the Jews were expelled, probably by the English. The English were famous for hating Jews. But at a certain point, when all of this began, or when the current conflict began, Jews were living in Palestine and Palestinians were living in Palestine, and the nations of the world got together and said, England, you have to stop ruling Palestine. So what we're going to do is we're going to call the place where the Arabs live Palestine, and we're going to call the place where the Jews live Israel. We're going to make 2 states. And the armies of 6 Arab nations said, so what you're telling me is if Jews don't live there, it's Palestine. Well, we can certainly stop Jews from being alive there. And they invaded. And the Jews said, hang on a minute, we've been to this party. There are too many clowns and not enough ice cream. So, yeah, you're going to have to kill us to take our land. And we're going to kick you out of your strongholds, the places where your military is building up, to protect ourselves. The Gaza Strip, for example, where all this current conflict is happening, was taken from Egypt by Israel. It is conquered land, but it is historically Israeli land. And I mean, it's like, look, if we had put it to a vote, we said, okay, we've got this place that is Palestine. It is no longer under Roman rule or English rule. What do you want to call it? They would have a right to call it whatever they wanted to call it. The truth is that more people would likely have voted that it was Israel. The problem is that we did not take a vote. Through force of arms, they tried to decide the name of that country. So, there are a lot of questions I have about this conflict, because I am confused. I am seeing things in the media that don't make sense to me. Like they're saying, Palestine should be free. Okay? Free from what? Free from whom? Because if you mean free from Jews, well, Gaza, which is Palestine, is free from Jews. There are no more Jews in Bethlehem either. There are no Jews in the West Bank. Israel removed every Jew by force. They even dug the dead from the graveyards to leave Gaza as Jew-free as possible. This plunged the area into civil war. Now, mind you, if you are a Muslim, you are welcome in Israel. If you are a Christian or a Hindu, you are welcome in Israel. If you are a Jew, you are welcome in Israel. If you are a Christian, you are not welcome in Palestine. If you are a Jew, you are not welcome in Palestine. If you are a Hindu, you are not welcome in Palestine. It is a Muslim country exclusively. So, it's like there's a joke, These two gay men meet in France. And they both discover that they're from Palestine. And, the first gay man, he's got a scar across his face, and he's missing some fingers. And the second man says, well, why did you leave Palestine? This is our home. We should be there. And, the guy says, well, they discovered I was gay, and they threw me off a building, and I survived, and I ran away. I found myself in France. And the other gay man says, that's strange. I live in Palestine to this day. And nobody treats me bad because I'm gay. Everybody knows. And nobody harms me. And the first gay man says, where in Palestine do you live? And the second man says, well, I live in Tel Aviv, the occupied part. Regardless of what you call it, the land that was formerly known as Palestine and is now called Israel is free. It is a place where you can believe what you want, love who you want, and you are entitled by law to have equality. Equality of faith, equality of love, equality of belief. If you're talking about the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. You're talking about a one-state solution. And that one state is Israel. If you turn it back to Palestine, a lot of people will either lose their freedom or lose their lives. Just something to consider. Thank you for having a drink with me. I'm Richard. Roar! It would be unbearable if you didn't comment, like, and subscribe. Don't eat my porridge.